Euromaxx highlights, and here's your host, Anne O'Donnell.
Hello and welcome to Euromaxx highlights for your roundup of favourite reports of the week. Coming up, Reworked, a German designer turns old cars into furniture. Northern Light, a visit to this year's European Capital of Culture. Needles and Pins, British textile artist Debbie Smith and her 3D pictures. Well, we start off in Holland today to visit Marcel Wanders and his biggest exhibition yet. The product and interior designer drew international recognition for his knotted chair, produced by Droog Design in '96. He is one of Holland's most famous jewellers turned interior designers, and he has a quarter of a century of his work packed into the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam. There you will find the Dutchman's original sketches, furniture, jewellery and other design experiments. Let's meet the man behind, pinned up at the Stedelijk 25 years of design.
He's a rock star in the world of design, flouting genres and conventions. For Marcel Wanders, everything is possible. Kitsch meets Baroque. Bright colours adorn industrial forms. It's design as a bold celebration of the senses.
I love my work. I am very passionate about what I do. So I really want to create. I really want to use my fantasy, and so to just do conventional things, it really doesn't make sense to me.
Now a retrospective at Amsterdam Stedelijk Museum is showcasing 25 years of the Dutchman's works, featuring 400 objects. Marcel Wanders loves giving old traditions a new twist, from illuminated balls of wool to handy daftware or simple crochet shawls transformed into elegant sculptures. In 1996, his knotted chair even made it to the MoMA in New York.
Design is not about sitting. If things are only functional, then they're not my work. It's not enough. I wanted to make a structure which is a textile structure, so a textile idea. And also I thought, I want to make a space frame because that will allow me to make a very light object. We started to knot, we started to impregnate with epoxy, and we started to get really strong structures. And these points, we hang it in a frame when drying, when hardening. And so gravity creates the shape. So that's another really interesting innovation.
His work is so broad, He was trained as an industrial and jewelry designer, but his oeuvre expanded to interior design.
The Andaz Hotel in the heart of Amsterdam. It's a converted library building, decorated by Wanders. Like his other works, it pairs classic glamour with modern flair.
When you come into the hotel, you walk onto a navigational map from the Golden Ages, which is a carpet laying there. And what Marcel wanted to do is he wanted to reflect the universe to it, because when you navigate 400 years ago, you need the map and the universe, and that's what you see right over here.
Since 2012, the Andaz has been offering guests a luxurious home away from home. This chandelier is decorated in Delft blue. It's a feast for the senses. Elsewhere, a brocade features the face of the master himself. Every detail is lovingly thought out.
We don't love them because they function. We love them because they have wonderful values and wonderful qualities on top of their functionality. Functionality is a start.
Amsterdam's Loot Hotel has already been showing Wanders' expertise the past 10 years, pairing creature comforts with elegant design.
There's all these flavors which make things come alive. So we really worked on this kind of diary, this kind of collection of ideas, and we've always been pushing ideas from one to the other apartment until everything was kind of perfect. Style is for the insecure, and I think it's very boring. So I think it's great to have no sense of style and to live without style and just to follow the moment, and to be ready to change any moment.
Wanders' newest project is the interior design of this apartment complex in Istanbul. It's set to open in 2015. From the apartments to the terraces to the entryway, it all bears Wanders' signature design, aiming this time to bring together Asia and Europe, East and West.
We created this face which turns around the column, and it has the two faces. It welcomes you with two faces. And so this is the European one.
Marcel Wanders, a designer who goes the unconventional route.
Now, just because something is broken beyond repair does not mean it cannot still be used. At least that seems to be the motto of the latest crop of product designers. Restoring classic cars to make them run again is one thing, but have you ever heard of refurbishing kaput old cars into actual pieces of furniture? Well, Martin Schlund near Freiburg is turning vintage cars on the scrapyard waiting list into interior design gems.
This Mini has been turned into a desk. This Fiat 500 is now a bar. There's even storage space for linens under the hood of this Mercedes bed. Martin Schlund re-engineers cars as furniture.
It combines two passions of mine, old cars and idiosyncratic interior design.
Schlund studied archaeology, not mechanics or panel beating. Working on old cars used to be just a hobby. He'd rebuild old camper vans with his father. But 7 years ago, his passion became his job. Each piece is crafted by hand. This one has been commissioned by an Australian businessman. The desk will be for his shop. It's based on a true classic from 1973.
It's one of my favorite models, a Mercedes W108, an S-Class from the 60s and 70s. Its form is wonderfully baroque, with lots of chrome. It has lovely curves. It's a fantastic car.
Customers can bring their own cars for remodeling. Or, when they can't bear to let their beloved vehicles go, Martin Schlund will find one for them. He hunts down the right model and year on the internet. Before getting down to work, he makes a sketch to show the clients.
The clients are always very involved. It is important for them because these are very personal commissioned works. Not everyone needs a piece of car furniture, but if you do, it's important you get exactly what you want. The customer chooses the color, the car, the kind of furniture, materials and features. My job is to make their wishes a reality.
Martin Schlund only does commissioned work, nothing on spec. He's the only auto furniture maker in Germany. Demand is strong and he has clients all over the world. Here he's making a wardrobe out of the back of an old VW van. For this particular customer, he made one once before, the very first of his career. And this will be the end product.
The biggest challenge in reworking cars into furniture is to make it work as furniture. Cars are built for a very different purpose. They're not made to be a wardrobe. So I have to work on the panels and stabilize them. Plus, it all has to look good and still resemble a car.
The master craftsman has re-engineered more than 100 vehicles. A Schlund original costs between 2,000 and 6,000 euros. He's furnished 6 rooms in a hotel in Böblingen, a small town near Stuttgart. Each room has a different theme. This room is the workshop, complete with a mechanic under the bed. It was a great commission, and Schlund let his imagination run wild.
One thing I will never do is cut up a car that still runs or can be restored. I drive a vintage car and it would pain me horribly to take apart an old car unnecessarily. Apart from that, there are no limits. There are endless possibilities.
Schlund works on each piece for around 3 or 4 weeks. The Mercedes desk is now finished, and in a few days it will be off to Australia.
Well, Umeå is the new European capital of culture. Latvia's Riga has also taken to the stage as another 2014 European cultural capital. Umeå and Riga are planning joint events. The Swedes are aiming to promote, quote, human growth via their projects, as well as strengthen the role of culture as a driving force for sustainable development of society. Umeå is, by the way, the most northern capital of culture ever and is Sweden's 12th biggest city. Let's have a look at this spot, which boasts a really young and vibrant scene. In fact, it has the youngest population in Europe.
Sweden's northern city of Umeå has officially kicked off its year as a European capital of culture. The opening ceremony, called Burning Snow, was held in sub-zero temperatures on a frozen river. It brought together everything that makes life in the north so special: fire, reindeer, and the unique culture of the Sami, the original inhabitants of Lapland. Sweden's Crown Princess Victoria attended the official opening.
Culture is the fabric that binds our society together. Culture binds the past with the present and the future.
Nearly 55,000 people turned out, and they were treated to a show to remember.
It was amazing, very beautiful.
It's really nice that they're showing the Sami culture, and that's quite special.
And there will be some events that will enrich both the cultural life and the life of inhabitants. So we're looking forward for it.
Over the course of the year, the city will host nearly 300 events under the motto Curiosity and Passion. Turnout on the opening weekend was high despite the Arctic temperatures. Umeå is gripped by winter from November through to May because it lies just 400 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. That makes it an unusual choice for a European capital of culture.
I think the jury found out that Umeå had a passion for culture, a real passion. The city has invested in culture 70% more than regular cities in Sweden. And now it pays off.
That extra investment is plain to see in the Umedalen Sculpture Park. It displays works of art from internationally renowned sculptors such as Louise Bourgeois, Anish Kapoor and Anthony Gormley. The pieces all look different according to the season.
So in the summertime, half of the sculpture is hidden by the green leaves, and in the winter everything becomes very graphic, and the sculpture and the birch tree interact definitely.
If you want to get out of the cold, visitors can grab a coffee at Nya Konditoriet. It was the favorite cafe of Swedish novelist Stig Larsson. The author of the best-selling Millennium book series lived in Umeå for over a decade. He died in Stockholm in 2004.
He used to come here all through his teens and drink coffee and write at the same time. And it was one of his favorite spots.
Umeå has been steadily growing for years. The average age here is 38, making it one of Europe's youngest cities. That's due in no small part to Umeå's university, which attracts students from all over the world.
And a lot of people that come to the university to study, many people stay as well in Umeå, because the atmosphere is very tolerant and open, and people seem to like it here.
Princess Victoria spearheaded Umeå's bid for the title of European Capital of Culture. On the opening weekend, the 36-year-old brought her family along to enjoy the festivities. Many events showcase the culture of the Sami, who are the original inhabitants of northern Scandinavia. One of them is an exhibition by Monica L. Edmondson. She sent 100 traditionally decorated vases on a journey around the world to locations such as Cuba, Tanzania and Alaska. The artist wanted to show the world a little piece of her home. The Sami are close to nature.
Every little kind of little mountain, every almost lake and every little stream that people just see as wilderness really is part of our culture and our stories from the past.
After a 16-year wait, a Swedish city is once again a capital of culture, and Umeå is the most northerly ever selected.
Well, up next, travelling in style with a German startup called Blacklane. Getting from A to B with a limousine and chauffeur was considered a somewhat extravagant idea that originated in the States and Asia. Now it has come to Germany thanks to Blacklane. They have made the service easily accessible and cheaper for a wider demographic. Not just here, but worldwide. Limos and drivers can now be ordered at the touch of a button in over 130 cities across the world. And it costs a little more than a normal taxi.
Berliner Oliver Reit usually ferries around actors and politicians. But now he's begun to offer his services to another demographic. He gets requests from more ordinary clients on his smartphone via the Blacklane limousine service. Today someone wants to be driven to Frankfurt.
It's a nice feeling. I have a bit more cash in my pocket and a bit more work.
These additional clients now make up almost a third of the chauffeur's turnover. He's been in the business for more than 20 years.
What's changed is simply that ordinary people now want to be driven around. It's no longer just politicians, business people and actors. In the past, chauffeurs were only really associated with the top 10,000 people. Today that's really changed.
One of his clients is Christian Bracht, an art and fashion magazine publisher. He often travels between Berlin and other major cities. 10 kilometers in a chauffeur-driven limousine sets him back around 30 euros. For him, it's an affordable luxury.
Most of our sales from advertising come from this industry. They're high-end clients from Italy, France and Germany, and they pay really close attention to detail. For them, aesthetics is very, very important, and it often makes an impression to be driven around in style.
Booking a ride is simple. It's all done via a smartphone app. All you have to do is fill in your destination, departure time and desired vehicle. Payment is made via credit card. You can also book online. Blacklane is a Berlin-based startup. The company's idea was to make use of chauffeurs' dry spells by hiring out their services to more ordinary clients at a lower price. Frank Steuer is one of its co-founders.
People recognize in the taxi industry that apps were the way forward. This was not the case in the limousine market, and there was nothing like a well-known taxi company there. We realized something needed to be done, so we decided to start Blacklane at the end of 2011.
From the German capital, Blacklane operates chauffeur services in 130 cities in 45 countries. The company looks set to expand into Russia and China too. Their chauffeurs are always formally dressed, no jeans or t-shirts here. Customer satisfaction is key to Blacklane's success, and etiquette is everything. First, the client is shown to their seat. The most important thing is to be discreet for the duration of the journey. Engaging the client in conversation is forbidden, and the chauffeur must keep what he overhears to himself.
You come out of the building, put your case down, get inside, and are treated very, very well. It's an oasis of calm and service, which is simply great.
A chauffeur-driven limousine instead of a taxi. It's already commonplace in the United States and Japan. And now it's taking off in Germany too.
Well, forget about the brush and easel. Our next artist is all about needles and nails. Debbie Smith is a textile artist from England whose work is so precise it sometimes looks like a painting. She uses hundreds of nails and lengths of thread to create wall-sized installations. Her take on contemporary art has already caught the eye of the public, and her works have been commissioned for a number of corporations like Adidas, Mercedes and Hermes.
Cast a cursory glance at these artworks, and you'd think the lines were the product of a pencil and paper. But it's well worth leaning in for a closer look. Each line is in fact a single piece of thread attached to the canvas by two nails. Artworks using nails and thread, created by the British artist Debbie Smith.
When I did my foundation in art and design, textiles was something that I thought, actually, can this be art? We always used to just mend things with thread. It wasn't like we saw it as a way of making pictures. And so that opened me up to the world of material and sewing. And then I decided to study textiles at college. And then that led on to this.
Debbie Smith has been practicing her craft for nearly 5 years. Her creations sell for up to 18,000 euros. Each is based on an individual experience that particularly moved the 27-year-old. She just thinks of nails and thread as tools.
I just think it's drawing, just drawing in a different way. I like to look at the thread as a pencil. So you build up all the lines and then you add more lines, just as you would do with a pencil.
Smith's unconventional techniques have drawn the attention of numerous international companies. She designed window displays for the French fashion house Hermes. Adidas commissioned her to design an interior for the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. And she created a mobility-themed artwork for the German automaker Mercedes-Benz. But her first commercial contract was for the New York Times magazine. Her brief was to redesign its logo.
It was obviously different to what I had done previously, because I had only really done like drawings like this previously. So to do something more graphic, where I was looking at typography, was interesting to do, and it also opened up what work I could do in the future, because it showed my work to different audiences. So it was great that I'm not pigeonholed by just, I know it's like, it looks like it's quite a niche technique, but it can be applied in so many different ways.
Smith lives and works in the quiet county of Gloucestershire in the west of England. But she often finds inspiration in urban scenes and has been commissioned to work on projects throughout Europe. In 2012, for example, Smith created a 16-meter-long tableau for the Hamburg Philharmonic. With her nails and thread, she brought scenes from a piece of music to life. It caused quite a stir.
I think it's got this kind of a jaw-dropping quality about it, just because it's a bit unexpected. And it's great, actually, working in public areas like what I did in Hamburg. Not that I can speak German, but I did have a lot of people coming up to me going, oh, yeah, this is great. I presume that's what they were saying, and I was just like, yeah, thanks. But it's good to have feedback on your work.
When she's not traveling around Europe with her hammer and nails, Debbie Smith helps to pass on her skills by teaching at Somerset College in Taunton.
And if you want to know any more about any of those reports, just head on to our website or catch up with us on Facebook. Thanks for watching, and I will be back tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye.